If you've ever wondered why a Rolex is so expensive, this video is just for you. Let's take a closer look at Rolex watches in general and one piece in particular, the Rolex Submariner. Have you ever wondered why a Rolex is so expensive? One of the world's most popular brands, these Swiss luxury watches are the envy of some and the must-have timepiece for others. But have you ever thought why, exactly, they demand such a high price tag? What makes them better? At the end of the day, aren't they just a regular timepiece with the classic label markup? As it turns out, you are not just paying for the name but also the time of a master craftsman in every watch. Disassembling the price tag. Let's expand a bit on what is involved in making a single Rolex. You'll likely be hard pushed to find another product with the same level of quality in each piece. This is an interesting fact and a good reason for a person to buy it. Although Rolex has, over time, developed a name for quality as well as prestige, they tend to produce mechanical watches, which by their very nature, are incredibly time-consuming to produce. Mechanical watches, not just Rolex, generally command a higher price because of the nature of the product. There are various reasons for why a Rolex is so expensive. Let's take a peek. 1. Rolex watches cost a lot to design. Watchmaking is a demanding profession and these models are the best example. A Rolex watch has very high in-house development costs in design and craftsmanship. It not only costs a lot to develop the design of the movements and assemble them, but the materials used in the actual construction are also not cheap either. Rolex even has its own R&D lab department, well, several. These are well-equipped and highly professional facilities. They spend their time developing more efficient manufacturing methods, but also new techniques to keep ahead of the curve. They even employ some highly sophisticated and sensitive pieces of kit like electron microscopes and gas spectrometers. As the parts can be pretty small, it is very important the materials used are up to the task. The stress room tests individual parts to literal destruction. 2. Mechanical watches are expensive to build. Mechanical watch movements are also not the cheapest things to make. Owing to the small size of most of the parts, there is a high failure rate during assembly and manufacture. Most are even polished and finished by hand as well. Also, factor in that they are made in Switzerland, with its high labor costs, and you should start to get an appreciation for the overheads. 3. No expense spared. Mr. Hammond of Ingen would blush at the lengths Rolex go to when building a single watch. The materials are very expensive. Rolex, for example, tends to use 904L steel, which is leagues ahead of even most luxury market equivalents. They tend to use 316L steel. This makes them harder, shinier and also more expensive by default. Dials tend to be made of white gold and bezels tend to be ceramic. The numbers themselves tend to be sandblasted platinum. 4. Rolex are control freaks. As previously mentioned, and proof positive, so to speak, when handling one, the quality of them is unparalleled. When you compare one to their competitors like Tag Heuer or Omega, they do stand a cut above. It is obvious that they are at least worth the price tag. They also hold their value very well on the resale market, providing they are genuine, of course. Rolex makes between 800k and 1 million hand watches per annum. Every single part of the production process is quality controlled, as you'd expect from a luxury item. Rolex even controls the melting down of precious metals, like gold and silver, that are used in their products. But, like any QA system, it can fail on occasion. As an aside, the symbol has a very interesting origin. Quite incredible really. Rolex watches weren't always expensive. Although back in the 50s, they weren't as expensive, their price started going up over the years and before long, they became one of the expensive watches in the world.